This time, we explore the world's happiest people. When the first edition of the World Happiness Report was released in 2012, our home country, Denmark, was ranked as the world's happiest country. And it has stayed in top 3 since then. Despite a lot of really wet and cold weather, and the fact that Denmark is one of the heaviest taxed countries in the world, they are still pretty positive.
7 out of 10 Danes like paying taxes, which is I think a world record.
What is it that makes Danes so happy? Why do they have prisons with unlocked doors? And why did a Danish mother get arrested in New York for doing what Danes do? Please join us as we explore one of the happiest countries in the world, where even the power plugs look pretty happy. We're 2 Danes sailing around the world to meet people, visit places, and explore the science behind what a good life is. All this at 10 kilometers an hour. Please join us as we explore life. This time we're back in Denmark to see if we can find some of the reasons for a high level of happiness. To help us get started, we pay a visit to Mike Viking, CEO of the Happiness Research Institute.
The World Happiness Report focuses on the dimension of happiness, which is sometimes referred to as the cognitive dimension of happiness or the evaluative dimension of happiness. So it is an overall assessment of people's satisfaction with life. You ask people to imagine a ladder with steps from 0 to 10 and imagine the worst possible life they could live on step 0, and on step 10 is the best possible life they could live. And then say, which step do you feel you stand on right now? And Gallup collects data on this question in 155 countries, and then a national average will be calculated, and then you will have a country ranking.
So the ranking is based on the population's personal view of their own life and what happiness is for them. This is where the Danes rate their current life relatively close to their optimal life, placing them among the happiest countries in the world. However, calling the countries in the top the world's happiest is not the only way to look at it.
Often one Nordic country will come out in top, and they're called the world's happiest country. You could also turn it around and say they are the world's least unhappy country, because these rankings are based on averages.
Yes, it's important to remember that this is an average, and there are still things that can be improved. But is it then a good measure at all?
I think it makes good sense that countries that are peaceful, where there is a social security net, where there is free healthcare, where there is free education, are among the happiest in the world. Is it a perfect measure? I don't think it is. I don't think we have perfect measures. I think it's a valuable measure, and I think it's the best one we have so far.
Now this is where the scientists come in and try to explain why people in the Nordic countries score their own life so high.
When you look across the entire spectrum of countries in the World Happiness Report, you have 155 countries. And we can see there is essentially 6 factors that explain 75% of the difference in happiness levels among those countries. So GDP per capita, healthy life expectancy, freedom from corruption, freedom to make life decisions, the level of generosity in society, and social support. When it comes to Denmark and the Nordic countries, we do quite well on all of those 6 factors. What is perhaps also the special case about the Nordic countries is that I think we are relatively good at converting the wealth we have into well-being. I think we're relatively good at investing in areas that creates a return on happiness for people. Healthcare, good infrastructure, education, removing causes for concern, removing causes for unhappiness brings up the average, and that's why we come out on top.
To have a closer look at the Danish well-being, we visit author Malene Rydell in Paris. She is Danish herself and the author of the best-selling book, Happy as a Dane, published in 12 countries around the world.
Trust, for me, is one of the main reasons why we do well on collective well-being in Denmark. Denmark has the highest level of trust in the world at 78%. So 8 out of 10 Danes trust their peers. When you go to the opera in Copenhagen, you put your coat and your belongings in a wardrobe that's just not protected, and people could basically go and take your belongings. Or, in the street we have the strollers with the babies sleeping outside restaurants, and so people trust that nothing will happen to the babies, which would be a crazy thing in other countries.
Exactly the common Danish practice of letting kids sleep outside, also when you go to a restaurant, did result in a Danish mother living in New York ending up in jail. Something that was pretty shocking to Danish people, and obviously also for Americans. It's not only the trust between people that is high, it is also the trust in their government.
7 out of 10 Danes like paying taxes, which is I think a world record, because we're also, up till a few months ago, we were the most taxed country in the world. Why do they, as one of the few populations in the world, like paying taxes? Because they actually feel they're part of this common project of the welfare state and the society we built.
Most Danes and the other Nordic countries actually feel that they get a good return on the taxes they pay to the governments. That creates a feeling of trust and a feeling of security. This was especially clear when we asked a couple of young people what they thought was one of the best things about the Nordic countries.
It's a nice system we have, I think. The things we are paying for, we have this security net. So if we fall, we can always be caught.
How the state provides us with everything, with the hospitals, with the schools, everything. We can take it easy because we know everything will fix itself if something goes wrong.
Another good example of the high trust levels in Nordic countries is the popular use of open prisons. Here, prisoners prepare their own meals, wear their own clothes, and can come and go each day. The focus is not on punishment, but on rehabilitation.
Even when you commit a crime or you fail in some sense, we re-engage your responsibility and we extend trust to our citizens.
And extending trust to others is a really big driver in creating trust. The open prison system is believed to be the reason why the Nordic countries have some of the lowest rates of convicted criminals committing crime again, a measure known as recidivism. That trust can be built even in low-trust environments is not something new.
I like this example, Mohammed Yunus, who created Grameen's Bank in Bangladesh. He is also the person we call the father of microcredit. He gave loans to thousands of people without any guarantee, and 95% of them were paid back. Bangladesh has a level of trust at about 5%. So if he's able to create a community of trust in a country with only 5% trust, I think we should say that we're all able to create communities of trust around us and inspire other people to also do so.
Now, there are of course many more things to say about why the Nordic countries are so highly ranked. But overall, it seems that they have been very successful at investing in areas that remove causes for concern and unhappiness, and create a feeling of security, freedom and trust, both in between people and to the state. Especially trust is a very powerful element of a well-running society. It just makes everything easier. So don't forget that trust builds trust. Someone just has to be willing to take that first step and the risk of trusting others. Now, one last thing. When we heard that Denmark was one of the happiest countries in the world, our first thought was that it couldn't be true, since Danes just love complaining about pretty much everything at all times.
I hear the same in Estonia and Russia and whatnot. So I don't think it's a Danish or French or Portuguese thing to complain. I think it's a human thing. Maybe there is also a joy in complaining sometimes.
Complaining might just be a part of a happy life.